Many people suffering from metabolic problems, including hypothyroidism, are often told that they have a genetic disease. But let's take a step back and question this widely accepted notion. After all, a belief that doesn't encourage inquiry is not a belief worth having, isn't it? Imagine a world where every ailment is ascribed to genetics. It's a bleak picture, isn't it? It's a world where the power of human agency is undermined, where our ability to influence our health is diminished. This is the picture painted by the belief that thyroid problems are solely genetic diseases. In reality, the story is a bit more complex, a bit more nuanced. It's not just about the genes you're born with, but also about what you expose them to, what you feed them, and how you care for them. It's a dynamic interplay of nature and nurture, not a one-sided genetic dictation. Now, let's delve into the nitty-gritty. It's true that genetics can predispose individuals to certain conditions, but to say that thyroid issues are purely genetic is to overlook a multitude of contributing factors. Factors such as environmental toxins, dietary influences, and even the impact of stress and inflammation. Take iodine, for example. It's a mineral that our bodies need to produce thyroid hormones, but too much of it, often from dietary sources like seaweed or supplements, can actually cause hypothyroidism and thyroiditis. Similarly, exposure to certain environmental toxins like mercury, dioxins, and even dental X-rays can contribute to thyroid problems. Then there's the issue of diagnosis and treatment. If we're stuck on the idea that thyroid issues are genetic, we may misinterpret test results and opt for treatments that aren't really addressing the root cause. This could mean a lifetime of medication without any real improvement. So let's flip the script. Let's shift our focus from genetic inevitability to environmental and lifestyle factors. Let's empower ourselves with knowledge and take control of our health. This belief in genetic inevitability often leads to inappropriate treatments and misinterpretations of test results. So, if genetics aren't the main culprit, what is causing these thyroid problems? Well, it turns out our everyday environment is teeming with potential triggers for thyroid issues. Let's start with our diet. Certain foods and supplements, especially those rich in iodine, can contribute to thyroid problems. These include seaweed and certain types of bread that use iodate as an oxidizing agent. Now, iodine is essential for our body, but like everything else, too much of it can tip the balance and result in hypothyroidism and thyroiditis. Then we have environmental toxins. Mercury and dioxins, often found in industrial waste and pollutants, can wreak havoc on our thyroid gland. These toxins can seep into our water supply, linger in the air we breathe, and even make their way into the food chain. But perhaps the most significant and often overlooked culprits are radioactive isotopes and X-rays. These are not just limited to nuclear accidents or high-risk jobs. We're often exposed to them in medical settings. Dental X-rays, for instance, can increase the incidence of thyroiditis and hypothyroidism. Even the radioactive isotopes used for diagnostic purposes in hospitals can contribute to the severity of thyroid issues. It's important to remember that these triggers are not isolated. They interact with each other and with our bodies in complex ways. For instance, a diet high in iodine can make the thyroid more susceptible to damage from radiation. On the other hand, exposure to environmental toxins can exacerbate the effects of an iodine-rich diet. So in essence, our thyroid is under constant attack from a variety of sources. But it's not all doom and gloom. Understanding these triggers is the first step towards safeguarding our thyroid health. By making informed choices about our diet and lifestyle, we can significantly reduce our risk of thyroid issues. Unfortunately, our everyday environment is full of potential triggers for thyroid issues, from what we eat to the air we breathe. But remember, knowledge is power. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the role of inflammation in thyroid issues in the next segment. But there's more to this story. Inflammation plays a significant role in thyroid issues. In unraveling the complex narrative of thyroid issues, often we overlook the elephant in the room: inflammation. It's the silent instigator disrupting the balance, causing havoc in our bodies. Instead of focusing on the buzzword of autoimmunity, let's shift our lens to a more generalized inflammatory state. This, my friends, is often the real culprit behind thyroiditis and a host of other degenerative diseases. Autoimmunity, you see, is just one part of the puzzle, and often it's not the most significant one. Picture this: you're in a quiet, serene garden. Suddenly, a small fire breaks out. It starts off manageable, but if left unchecked, it can engulf the entire garden. This fire is akin to the inflammation in our bodies. It's a natural response to injury or disease, but when it becomes chronic, it can lead to serious health issues, including thyroiditis. It's like a domino effect. Chronic inflammation can cause tissue injury, which can then lead to the development of autoantibodies. These autoantibodies are often found in individuals with hypothyroidism and other metabolic problems. But remember, they are not the cause, but rather a consequence of the inflammation. Certain environmental toxins, diet, and even estrogens can cause this inflammation, leading to thyroid problems. So it's not just about the genes or the autoimmunity. It's about the inflammation instigated by various factors that we often overlook. This perspective shift is crucial. It helps us understand that addressing inflammation can be a game changer in managing thyroid issues. It's not about suppressing the autoimmunity, but about calming the fire of inflammation. So let's stop scapegoating autoimmunity for all our thyroid woes. It's time to look at the bigger picture and acknowledge the significant role inflammation plays. It's time to quell the fire, not just the smoke. Inflammation, not autoimmunity, plays a significant role in thyroid issues and other degenerative diseases. Digging deeper, we find a common root: a respiratory defect. What does that mean, you might ask? Well, it's not as complex as it sounds. To understand this, we need to look at how our bodies produce energy. Our cells, the tiny building blocks of our bodies, are constantly working to keep us alive and well. They do this by producing energy in a process called respiration. This is not the breathing in and out kind of respiration, but a cellular one. Now, imagine if there was a defect or a hitch in this cellular respiration process. It's as if the factory producing the energy your body needs to function is running on a faulty generator. This defect can lead to a state of imbalance, a state of stress within the cell. And when cells are stressed, they react by triggering inflammation. But why does this inflammation matter? Inflammation is the body's default response to injury or stress. It's like the body's emergency services rushing to the scene of an accident. But imagine if these services were constantly being called out, even when there's no real emergency. This is what a persistent inflammatory state looks like. It's like a false alarm that never stops ringing. And this is where the link to thyroid issues comes in. This constant state of inflammation can lead to damage in various parts of the body, including the thyroid gland. Remember, the thyroid gland is like the body's thermostat, regulating everything from your metabolism to your body temperature. Any damage to this gland can lead to a domino effect of health issues. So the respiratory defect we talked about earlier, it's like a small stone that triggers an avalanche. It starts a chain reaction that leads to cellular stress, inflammation, and finally, thyroid issues. To sum it up, the root cause of many thyroid problems is not a specific gene or a predetermined fate, but a respiratory defect. This defect leads to a state of inflammation, which can cause damage to the thyroid gland, resulting in various thyroid issues. The root of the problem lies in a respiratory defect, which leads to inflammation and subsequently thyroid issues. So, what can we do to alleviate these issues? That's the question on everyone's mind, and it's one that's met with a straightforward answer: correct the thyroid deficiency. This seems like a simple solution, but it's one that carries a lot of weight in the realm of thyroid health. Correcting a thyroid deficiency is not about instant gratification. It's a process, one that involves gradual normalization of the antibodies associated with thyroid issues. This normalization process is key to managing and potentially reversing these issues. It's as though you're slowly turning down the volume on an overly loud radio, bringing the noise down to a bearable and eventually pleasant level. But how does one go about correcting a thyroid deficiency? It's a combination of a well-balanced diet, proper supplementation, and a healthy lifestyle. Consuming foods rich in iodine, such as seaweed, can help, but it's essential to note that an excess of iodine can also cause complications. So, moderation is the key. Also, being aware of environmental factors is crucial. Minimizing exposure to toxins, including mercury and dioxins, can go a long way in preserving thyroid health. It's about making conscious choices, like opting for a lead apron during dental x-rays to protect the thyroid gland. Furthermore, the role of estrogen cannot be overlooked. A balanced hormonal state is critical for thyroid health. Therefore, maintaining a healthy weight and managing stress, both of which can influence estrogen levels, also contribute to correcting a thyroid deficiency. Lastly, it's important to remember that this is not a solitary journey. Collaborating with healthcare providers who can guide you through appropriate treatments and interpret test results is vital. Correcting a thyroid deficiency is a journey, a process of gradual change and improvement. It's about making conscious, informed choices for your health and well-being. It's about understanding the cause and effect relationship between your actions and your thyroid health. By correcting a thyroid deficiency, we can gradually normalize the antibodies and alleviate the symptoms of thyroid issues. So, take the first step, make the necessary changes, and embark on this journey towards better thyroid health. The power to improve our health lies in our own hands. This truth has been underscored in our journey to debunk misconceptions and understand the root causes behind thyroid issues. We've discovered that it's not just about genetics, but about how our environment, our diet, and even our dental x-rays can impact our thyroid health. We've also learned that inflammation and respiratory defects play crucial roles in these conditions. But knowledge is only half the battle. Action is the key that turns the lock, allowing us to correct thyroid deficiencies and gradually normalize our bodily processes. It's not a quick fix, it's a commitment to change, to take control of our health. Remember, it's not just about the thyroid. This knowledge applies to a myriad of health issues, including sleep disorders, lack of vitality, and mental health challenges. Subscribe to this channel for more beneficial information that can help you recover sleep, vitality, physical health, and mental health. Your health is in your hands, and with the right knowledge, you can make the changes necessary to live a healthier life.